speaking about just Montessori education, the broadest ideas, like what's driving Montessori education. So that's what I'm going to be getting into. So before I get into this, I like to see, I'm mainly in Orange County right now, and success can look different than in different areas, very much so. So I thought I'd ask, what does success look like to you guys? Because, you know, sometimes I'll have this image, right? The gold-plated Lamborghini, right? Is this the group that wants their child to eventually have the gold-plated Lamborghini?
Yeah.
Is that like that's the thing, right? So, you know, traditionally it's this idea, whoever has the most toys and the most money wins, right? Yeah, I actually like fast cars, so it'd be nice to have a fast car, but this isn't like we're all, hopefully our child can get this, and people can take pictures of him in the back, you know, and he's driving that. That's not really what we're looking for success. So, but with you guys, what are you looking for? Like when you think about your child, both as he's learning and as an adult, what things come to mind as successful? Right? Yeah.
I'd like my child to be happy in school.
Happy.
Kind of the main thing.
Yeah, to enjoy the experience. Yeah. Yeah.
I want my child to learn to love learning.
Yeah. Yeah. A love of learning. Love of learning. Yeah, and you said your child, you said you want my child, but throughout life, right? As adults. Yeah.
Just like confidence and curiosity.
Okay, so curiosity and confidence. Yeah.
Room for their creativity.
So room for creativity, which I'll get into. Oftentimes in traditional schooling, there's not a lot of room for that, right? To be creative. Okay, cool. So I want to be thinking about all these things as we go through as the underlying purpose of all of this. This is what we're trying to accomplish, right, for success. So Carter, age 2, makes coffee. Carter's 2-year-old. Now your children are going to be coming 6, 7 into the elementary. But what happens in this video, I think is going to be consistent all throughout Montessori, whether you're 2 years old or you're 17 in a high school Montessori. So I'm just going to play this video and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Huh?
Want coffee, Daddy?
Okay.
Milk. There.
Okay.
No winning, Daddy. Turn on it. Okay. Turn on, Dad. Turn on. What's that? Warming up, Dad. What's warming up? Yeah, what? Take it. Pistachio.
Is it done?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's it, I think. Wow, thank you.
Sure. Oh, need to turn it off. Turn it off. Turn off. Turn off. Turn off that.
Okay.
Let's just some sugar. Need some sugar. Need some sugar. Need some sugar. Need some sugar, Daddy. Need some pour milk, not coffee.
So, how do you hold your spoon?
Like marker.
Like a marker?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
water. Underwater.
Oh. Thank you.
Sure. No.
Okay, thank you, Carter.
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'll take-
Coffee, Daddy.
Okay, thank
Coffee,
you.
Daddy. It's coffee.
Thank you
Daddy.
very much.
It's coffee, Daddy. It's coffee.
Okay, so this is what we do. We go cheers. Cheers.
Do it.
Cheers.
So clearly Carter's a happy child, definitely confident that he can make that coffee himself. He's a Montessori child. So for those of you that have had children in Montessori, you see the way he can pour, his putting things back in their place. So this is not normal for a 2-year-old. And in fact, when I would show this video, and even Richard, his father, now actually Carter's going to be going into elementary, he's in Orange County, he'd get, there's no way that child is 2. Right? It's impossible. So throughout this Montessori, I want you guys to be thinking about what we have with Carter is what is considered normal for children is ridiculously below what they are actually capable of. Right? For those of you with Montessori children, I'm sure you see this, but outside in the normal world, outside of Montessori, people think this is impossible. And the things that your children, I'm sure, are doing at 3, 4, reading at 4 and 5, doing multiplication, division at 6. It's impossible, but it's not, because we're underestimating what our children are capable of. So if we go through, in Montessori, one of the underlying principles across the board, whether you're 6 months old or you're 16, is follow the child. So see what interests him, what he values. You can see Carter was interested. He saw his dad doing coffee. I want to do that. And we see that throughout as kids, all the way up. So Montessori had this quote that I find interesting. She said, when children are interested in a subject, they tend to spend a long time studying it, or in other words, trying to find their own experience. I remember a child who wanted to draw a river, the Rhine, with all its tributaries. He had, therefore, to search a long time in geographical treatises which had nothing to do with school books. For the actual drawing, he chose graph paper as used by engineers and made use of compasses and various other instruments. He succeeded in his endeavor, showing tremendous patience. Nobody surely would ever have exacted such an effort from him, right? And if we look and think about traditional schooling, right? So I think about history class. Okay? How many of you remember doing history or social studies in elementary school? How many of you remember enjoying it? Many fewer hands that seem to happen. Okay, so in traditional schooling, right, you have this sense of, I'm going to give you all these facts and these dates, and I'm going to take my knowledge as the teacher and drop it in your head. And then what do you do with that knowledge as a student? You forget it, yeah. But before you forget it, you got to write it down on what?
The test.
A test. And traditional student, will this be on the test? That's the most important question, right? Will this be on the test? Montessori, these are the type of questions you'll get. So I taught history for a while, and the type of question, say you're teaching Roman history. You learn all about this Roman history, you learn about Julius Caesar, and a child's so excited with the material, it's not focused on what's this end thing I'm going to fill in this bubble. It's what if Julius Caesar wasn't killed? And you'll hear questions like that. And then in a Montessori environment, the teacher's not like, well, we're not talking about that. Let's get back to what's important. He said, that's interesting. I wonder too. And then I've seen kids over the weekend, 4 or 5 page paper, come back the next day and Monday. This is what I think would happen. Written out. And that's the type of thing that you have. If you have a key lesson, everybody gets this part of history, and then you can have these explorations afterwards, individualized explorations, right? Following the child. Anne, age 14, makes herself. So we talked about Carter at 2 making coffee. Anne Frank makes herself at 14. So here's just a quote from her diary. A few weeks ago, I started to write a story, something I made up from beginning to end. And I've enjoyed it so much that the products of my pen are now piling up. So for those of you who don't know Anne Frank well, we know she made this diary that we all have read. But she also was a writer. She considered herself a developing writer, and she has novels that she wrote. Right? But the interesting thing about Anne Frank is she was a Montessori child, 3 to 12. It was 9 years of Montessori. This is what her father said about her. Anne was a demanding character. She continually asked questions. When we had visitors, it was difficult to free yourself from her because everyone and everything interested her. It was good that Anne went to a Montessori school where each pupil gets a lot of individual attention. So I want to ask you, this line about Anne, everyone and everything interested her. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Yeah. How many of you have children that are above 11? Nobody in here. Well, you do. Okay. A lot of us deal with children at that age. I've seen a lot of children through time. Most children at that age, outside of Montessori, you wouldn't describe them like that anymore. A 1-year-old? Every 1-year-old. What happens? And why? So in Montessori, the idea is that should not end. Everyone and everything interests you should be every child. And it's possible. So if we go through how do we do that? So Montessori education nurtures children's insatiable curiosity. So it allows them to go on their curiosity. Somebody said you want a curious child and a curious adult throughout your whole life. So an example I have is we would do this sometimes in school. You'll have read aloud groups. So you might, in elementary, we'll get a group together about the same level. We'll sit together and have a read aloud group. And I remember this one time when I was learning more about Montessori, but I was still kind of in that old school teacher-driven way. And I was reading aloud. We're sitting there all together with the kids. And this is book, and I'm so excited. I'm reading it to them. And we're in the corner, sitting on the ground, and then a child, look at that spider! You know, as a teacher, I'm going to read aloud right now. You know? And I saw, and then of course the other children looked over, and there's a spider on the wall. And I think in a traditional environment, first of all, you most likely would not be sitting on the floor in a corner with the students as if you have respect and you're enjoying it. You'd be in desks and facing forward. But in this case, it's a distraction from learning. What I knew is I was learning a lot more about Montessori. Go with it a little bit. Oh, wow, look at that spider. So I put the book down and said, let's look at that. Now, I don't know a lot about spiders, so this was not the time to go into a whole depth of spiders. But all the kids looked at it and said, okay, I think we should take him outside with me. So I got a piece of paper, put the spider on him, walked him outside. All the kids were with me, put the spider outside. They saw him go. We walked back and went back to read aloud. Now, it might seem small and insignificant, but the general approach in education is that's not important. What's important is what your teacher thinks is important at all times. So you get this teacher-driven approach. We're here, there's a little bit of curiosity, you can go with it, and then you come back to the lesson. Right? And it seems minor, but it's incredibly important. It's a respect for the child's interest. Right? The thing I like to say, in Orange County, I get a lot of pushback, like, what if the child wants to go outside and play with a spider? And this is in the middle of a lesson. There needs to be some structure. And I think there's some validity to that. So Montessori is this idea of freedom within limits. So if a child all of a sudden says, you know what, that was fun being outside. I just want to roll around outside right now. Which I'm sure with your kids you can see sometimes they want to do things that you don't want them to do. There is structure in the classroom where I can understand you want that, and you know what, at 1 o'clock we're going to have free time, and you can go do that. But right now we're all doing X. And you include that structure in the environment. Okay, Larry and Sergey, early 20s, made Google. Okay, why am I putting the Google guys here? Because they both were Montessori children. And here's what Sergey Brin has to say about his own Montessori education. I benefited from the Montessori education, which in some ways gives the students a lot more freedom to do things at their own pace, to discover. I do think that some of the credit for the willingness to go on your own interest, you can tie that back to that Montessori education. So he's literally saying all the way back when I was a child, it's affected me and the decisions I've made as an adult. Right? And how I want to connect this is, in the Montessori environment, each child is a unique individual. So if you have traditional classrooms, and I wonder with you guys, does anyone remember a time when you were a child and you remember either thinking, I can keep going, but you were held back? Or that other experience where it's like, I don't know if I can do this, but all the other kids seem to be able to. Does everybody, yeah, you relate to one of those two? Either way, it's not fun, okay? The idea in Montessori is that, why would you ever hold a child back because his other peers aren't yet ready? Or why would you push a child to learn something that he actually is incapable of learning because that's where the age group says he should be? It doesn't make sense. So in a traditional classroom, you have grade specific, right? So if your child does not go into a Montessori classroom, most likely it would be a first grade classroom. All first graders, right? So when you have all first graders, they're all supposed to be at the same area as a teacher. And I told you explicitly told this before Montessori. Do you know who I'm supposed to teach to in that classroom?
The average.
The average. And literally was told that. And I don't think there's like mean-spirited people, we want to create average students. There's just no other way to do it. And I've tried when I was in that kind of environment. You can't. Because there are kids that are advanced here in math, and somebody's down here. And there's somebody advanced in art, somebody's down here. What do? Teach the average. In a Montessori classroom, you're going to have mixed ages, right? So a lot of you are familiar with this, the 6 to 9 neighborhood. Right? And you'll have a 6-year-old that sometimes, let's say in geography. How many of your kids like geography, especially in the Montessori classroom, right? I've seen 6-year-olds that know every country in the world. And I surely don't as an adult. That 6-year-old can go at his own pace and start to explore the depth of each nation, maybe go into some of the cultural aspects, where there might be a 9-year-old in that class that does not have that depth of geography, and he just needs to learn what are the countries of Africa. So it's all different ranges, right? So in a mixed age environment, we do differentiated groups. So that history thing I was talking about, say ancient Rome, I would definitely not just have, well, all the 6-year-olds, they're all at this level. No, I'd go around the room and see where people are at, and you take a group together and you'd work with according to their abilities and where they're at. So differentiated groupings, right? So if you tie this all together, and we were looking for success with the kind of curiosity, the confidence, happiness, it is the child who makes the man, and no man exists who is not made by the child he once was. So I think the Montessori approach, and I think a lot of you as parents are looking at this, we're not the ones making a child. The child is making himself, and we're aiding that growth. And I think that's the difference of a Montessori approach versus an outside approach. The child's developing himself, and we're setting up an environment in which he can succeed, in which he can have the confidence to make coffee at 2, or to write a novel at 14. And that curiosity and that sense of, there's so much out there. It doesn't end at 5. It keeps going throughout all of life. So